All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 594 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. We're going to talk straight Atlanta Falcons today once again. Georgia Southern is still in the process of filling out that roster and getting things together. If you wanted to check the last video I did on Georgia Southern, talked about two guys that's from Griffin, Georgia to Griffin High, transfer from Power 5 to Group of 5, going to be helping out the Eagles. So that's pretty cool. But Falcons are filling out their roster as well, moving things around. End up signing a cornerback. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on that. Also, Coach Arthur Smith made a bold statement, and I want to talk about that as well. And I'm really interested in that, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that as well. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So check me out on all those avenues. I had an issue with 593 last week, the last episode. It didn't upload till like late that night. I try to get all these up by 9 p.m. Eastern, but I think that episode went up like at almost 11:30. YouTube was acting weird, so I always say this: make sure that you subscribe to one of the podcast avenues as well, because the podcast avenue is usually reliable. 9 o'clock, it usually be up. YouTube act funny sometimes, but it could be vice versa as well. So if you don't mind, subscribe to any of the podcast platforms so you will not miss an episode. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get this out the way. Breon Borders signs with the Falcons. Last team he was with the Chicago Bears. Had stints in a lot of places, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts about this. Seems like he's a pretty good guy, pretty solid dude. I mean, he's 5'11", around 189, 190, pretty good arm length, on wingspan. Runs a 4.49. But for some reason, even though his career numbers are not too bad, I mean, he shows that he can play some defense, but he couldn't stay on the team. So I'm kind of worried, or I don't want to put too much into this because I don't know how this is going to play out. And it not necessarily has much to do with him, because I feel like at the end of the day, he could find a roster spot, because it seems like, we could use all the help we can get. But the thing is, I feel like he's probably going to be one of those guys that's probably going to end up being a practice squad member, only because of the talent that's around us already. I mean, we have a lot of DBs. I mean, we signed a handful of them, a lot of them that we, kind of forgotten about. Jeff Okudah, Mike Hughes. We also have, we also have AJ Terrell, and we got Clark Phillips III. We signed a lot of guys and drafted a couple as well. You just don't know where he's going to fit in at. And my thing is, he's just going to be like another guy that's trying to get in the roster spot. Practice squad, special teams. I don't think he's that bad of a player, but when you had 10 teams in 5 years, I don't know what to say about that. So it's not much to really put on this. I mean, he did have one interception. He picked off Phillip Rivers in one season ago, but that's the only interception that he had. He had a fumble recovery, 42 total tackles, 7 pass deflections, so he could play some defense when he's on the field. But the thing is, when he's on the field, I mean, with the size that he has, I don't see why not. But he could be a rotational guy as well. But I don't see much here. I just don't. It's not, like I said, it has nothing to do with him per se, like his talent, but it's just that, like I said, you had all these chances on all these squads. It's just, I just can't sit here and say, oh, he could, turn into something. And if he was like one of the guys that we're going to bring in and we don't have all these other ones signed or all the DB signed already, then I was like, okay, let's take a flyer out on him. Apparently, Coach Arthur Smith and them did take a flyer out on him. They signed him. And I just don't know what to make. I just don't know what to make of it, So in my opinion, it's more about depth, and we'll just see how it plays out. I don't put too much stock into this. I just can't. It's not much there to, put, like I said, it's not too much there to actually put stock in. Like what it says, best season for the most part was the Tennessee. It was when he played for Tennessee, when he had the interception off of Phillip Rivers. And but I just don't know. Like I said, he played 9 games in 2021 after being released in November 9th, 2021, but was re-signed to the practice squad. So he does find a way to stay on teams. But I mean, how effective he's going to be, I just don't know. So I'll keep an eye on this, just like I keep an eye on all the other players that are on the Falcons or the Georgia Southern Eagles, and maybe he'll end up, making a difference. I mean, I don't know. What can you say? It's like I said, it's not much here to really, put out there to say, okay, this is a staple, because we already, signed like 3 or 4 different DBs, signed or drafted 3 or 4 defensive backs. This look like it's much more with depth. And so that's just my thoughts and opinions about that. Before I get out of here and get to the other half of this episode, let's talk about Arthur Smith really quick. Arthur Smith, listen, man, I like this guy's attitude. I really, really do. Seemed like he wants to go for the gusto. And you didn't really hear him talk about this the last couple of seasons because it was basically in rebuild mode. But now, this is what he said, quote, I'll put the link in the description. Is a couple of articles that companies that picked this up, but I'm gonna put the one from yardbarker.com. He says, we are planning to play 20 to 21 games. We need to be ready to roll September 10th. We need to be playing our best football at the end of the year. He's not the only one either. Calais Campbell also said that the club's goals are obtainable. There aren't many believers in the Falcons, and I get it. I mean, I will be really surprised if we take it that far. To be quite honest, I think we can win at least 3 more games than last year, so that's 10 wins. We get in the playoffs, anything can happen. But the Falcons, sometimes it is easy to climb the mountain when nobody's expecting it. I mean, that's true. I mean, a lot of people didn't take the Falcons serious in 2016 until late that season. I mean, Matt Ryan was starting to be the MVP that he was, and the team actually was playing decent football. And I think when we beat up on Aaron Rodgers at home, I think it was the last, game of the season, at the last game ever in the Georgia Dome, I think people started to say, okay, this team could really do something. And at the end of the day, we were the better team in that Super Bowl. I mean, talent-wise, we were a much better team. But when you got a quarterback that's number 12, I mean, you see what happened, and the rest is history. But nevertheless, Arthur Blank is trying to get back to that spot. He's trying to get back to another Super Bowl. I mean, when you playing, he said they're planning on winning 20 to 21 games. So this is what we're talking about here. So it's really interesting because 17 games, you probably get a first round bye, then you play 3 more games, then you're in the Super Bowl. 21, that means you're a wild card team. You go through and go to so he's already talking a Lombardi trophy. And that is a bold statement, and I mean, I'm not saying that it's a prediction. He just said, look, this is what we're planning on doing. So it's a statement that he put out there, like, look, this is what we're going to do. This is what I want to do. And he's trying to get this team together to do so. When you got guys that are, bought in like Eddie Goldman, Bud Dupree, Mike Hughes, Jeff Okuda, Lorenzo Carter, that was already there. Then you got AJ Terrell, Richie Grant, Arnold Ebiketie, Grady Jarrett. You got guys here. And I know, like I said, a lot of people don't believe the Falcons. And I'm a little skeptic because this is like really the first year Arthur Smith has put a team together the way he want to. And, Rome wasn't built in a day, but you could go on a run and it could happen. I mean, anything's possible, but, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Cause I think with this team and the actual schedule that they have, this schedule is not as tough as some people think. I mean, you look at the schedule when, they're basically going to be playing against fierce competition starting maybe I say week 3, the Lions look good, and the Jets in week 13, maybe the Vikings. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule, and based on all the turnover and the things that have been moving around, you got rookies on the schedule that you got to play quarterback against. Trevor Lawrence looks pretty good. The Lions starting to look a little more complete. The Jets got, they got Aaron Rodgers, but you look at the rest of the schedule, I don't see a threat, to be honest. Now, I could be wrong because these teams could be upside down. A team that could look down could be the hottest team in the NFL. You never know. All of a sudden, the Vikings may look unbeatable. You got Green Bay with the Jordan Love at quarterback. He may be the real deal. The Saints could do some things, which I don't think they will, but you just never know. There are rivals. They can tend to have our number at times. What do you have with the rookie sensation like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud? We see both of those guys this year. So what do you see with that? So it's is something that's really to think about. But at the end of the day, this looks very favorable for us. I mean, we got some key home games that really should, kick off the season back to back. So we may be in a good spot. 20 to 21 games is reachable, but you just have to put the work in. And Coach Arthur Smith is trying to put that work in, trying to get these guys ready to go, and so go see how it goes. I'm going to be here every episode, every step of the way talking about it. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What do you think about Breon Borders being signed and Arthur Smith? I think Arthur Smith is making a bold statement, kind of put himself out there on a limb, but he believes in his team. And maybe I should give him more credit than that because they, like I said, just finally they put their team together the way they want to. But this is the first year that they're actually doing it, so I don't know how it's going to play out. So I could be found on YouTube and Rumble, also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Subscribe to more than one of these episodes and on one of these platforms so you don't miss an episode. And I could be also found at VF Baller on Twitter. And I didn't talk about this earlier, but firstandframerates.com. Go check out the website, see if you could subscribe to the podcast on that avenue. And you can support your boy over there as well. There's a link over there to support, and we'll just go from there. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all Monday evening. I will see you guys on Tuesday. You guys take it easy, and you guys be blessed. Peace.